The PlayStation 5 launched in 2020, and over the years, we've been seeing people complain that the console has no games. I get the complaints by the hardcore gaming community, that being, there isn't much exclusives. PlayStation has a ton of IPs they've been working with since they started becoming a console manufacturer, but with PlayStation becoming this popular brand, along with the automatic third-party support, it would seem that they stopped trying, but I think my perspective on the subject matter could help with this discussion regarding the fact that PlayStation has no desire to make multiple exclusives anymore. The IPs that they seem to care for are God of War, Last of Us, Horizon Zero Dawn, and Spider-Man, since Sony has some rights regarding the popular Disney superhero character. They also will do something with Uncharted, Astro Bot, and maybe Ratchet and Clank. And they occasionally do a new IP here and there, but we are seeing more and more that a new Sony game is either a large budget sequel or a remake that basically don't do shit. And you can still play the original game, which has graphics that hold up and is cheaper. But why is this happening? My theory regarding this is due to a shift towards how to go handle development towards games. Instead of making these games that they believe are not interesting or meet the status quo, they want to focus on what they believe is a part of the current Sony brand. Additionally, game development is constant a lot for these high budget releases, so to just focus on what will get their monies back will be effective. Unfortunately, Sony doesn't understand that for franchises like The Last of Us, it's kind of getting fatigued with these remakes that do not add any value whatsoever. Yes, Naughty Dog made these games, but they have to find ways to make games that will push the cash cow as much as possible. They can't release a new God of War every month and expect sales of billions, and people are constantly getting laid off because of how companies are treating employees. That being, a vessel to help make games and are totally replaceable. There are plenty of talented people, and many of them have been removed to cut costs for the CEOs so the CEOs can have a better paycheck, along with how this is the standard in our current economy. This isn't just a Sony or PlayStation problem, but for all businesses everywhere. Xbox lay off most of their employees, and many thought they would become a third-party developer and service with Game Pass, but that didn't happen. They just changed the direction to become more competitive. Funny enough, Nintendo is a completely different story in this whole situation. Ever since the Switch launch, they've been able to release a new first-party game every month because they know they have a high failure rate with their consoles, and third-party software will likely just be indie games, Japanese RPGs, and mobile games. In its first year, Nintendo had a new Zelda, best-selling Mario Kart, new IPs, Splatoon, Mario collaborative project, Wii U port and Fire Emblem spin-off, and finishing off with a new 3D Mario game and a sequel to Xenoblade, which helped regenerate popularity with that franchise and has become Nintendo's new successful series. And it continues to near the end of the system's lifespan. While it already has all of its heavy hitters, they took the time to experiment to see what will work and how to implement these ideas and strategies to their upcoming releases, along with porting games that people love to see. This is beyond contrast to what PlayStation is doing, but this might be a thing regarding situation and culture. Nintendo can't rely on third parties since their console is the weakest of the major three, and PlayStation controls the major console market. I don't expect their values to change anytime soon, but it's something I want to bring up because the comparisons is pretty interesting. To conclude the discussions, the reason that Sony is doing this is because of the culture they built over the last few years with cinematic experiences, cost of game development, and a change of economic conditions that result in why PlayStation isn't interested in making more exclusive software. They know that people will buy it regardless of how many exclusives they have, and people will just want it because of FOMO, fear of missing out, and word of mouth. I know I have a high failure rate when it comes to making these videos, so I would like to hear what others may have to think about the topic as a whole. That's all I have to say.